Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. Today this is going to be a bit of a kind of chatty video. I know some of you have commented recently that you really enjoy just putting my videos on in the background so I can chat to you while you are painting. So I thought while I'm doing something that's very repetitive and to be honest quite boring, I would talk to you and basically explain what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So I'm sure the title and thumbnail will have already explained what I'm doing, but I am making my Nubbin babies. Here is one that I have completed, and today I am basically wrapping them up in their little blankets. So I will kind of just explain the whole process from start to finish, and we'll go from there. The lighting is not ideal, but we will go from here. So, as a reminder, my Nubbin babies start out life as these little plastic doll heads, and I paint them. I use Ultimate Fusion because it sticks really well, and so I paint the heads. I mostly use an airbrush just because I find it easier, especially when I'm kind of doing large quantities of them. I have just made 40 of these. I'm like halfway through doing all of the kind of this bit where I stick everything together. But yeah, so I use an airbrush on them to achieve different skin tones. So I'll do different layers, different number of layers on each baby. To achieve that skin tone. I do that one first. And yeah, it gives me some nice variations in skin tone by doing it that way. Of course, you can achieve the same with a brush. I know I am fortunate to have an airbrush, makes it easier for me. So once I am going to explain the whole process. Basically, because we don't gatekeep here. You can learn from my mistakes. So once I have painted the heads, I make sure to seal them, and I usually I use like a varnish for that. And then because these are really fun, like when they're weighted, what I do is I will pour little steel discs into the heads, so it goes inside the heads, and then I secure that with just some stuffing, as you would a regular Reborn, and that means the head is slightly weighted. And then for the bodies, I've actually made these bodies out of baby socks. So I literally took a baby sock, I cut the top off, I filled the baby sock in two different ways. So the first lot that I did a few steel discs and then filled the rest up with poly pellets. For this lot that I've just done, I've actually used fine glass beads, which I don't really like using in general because it's essentially sand, and it just gets everywhere. So I don't love using it, but I have quite a lot of it and I wanted to essentially use it up, so I'm not gonna be ordering that stuff again, but this meant that it was used up and made sure that the bodies were still given some weight. So that is what I have done for the bodies this time. And then so I fill the sock up with whatever material I'm using. In this instance it was that sandy stuff, and then you can kind of see, so what I do is I then shove the sock up with some glue inside the head, because each of these has like a little hole, and then the top of the sock that I cut off I then make into like a collar, and this just makes sure that it's like fully secure essentially. And then I spent quite a while deciding what would be best to use to make these little blankets, and I've used a few different things, and I'll kind of explain to you what I've done. So this one in particular is actually a larger blanket that I cut up. It's almost like a felt material that I've cut up and glued. But I have also been using this, which is like a baby muslin, and this is cut in half. And then I've also got these, which are, I got them off Amazon, and they're like reusable kitchen roll, they're supposed to be, so you can use them as you would kitchen roll, but they're like hemmed around the edge. I think if you are a sewer, you could quite easily make something that worked really well, which would look good, but I'm not a sewer. So I just have to make do with what I have, essentially. And then I cut them into these squares. Oh, I will explain also the difference in what I prefer to use. So the difficulty I've got is the one that I think looks and feels the best is actually the hardest for me to work with. So what I think looks best is the baby muslin, and that is like a fluffier material, and so it's like nice and soft to hold, and I think is, you know, like a nice more realistic type of material that would swaddle a baby, because it's muslin, so you would swaddle a baby in muslin. However, as you might see, because I think the next one that I'm going to make is using that material, because it's hard to find baby muslins that are like only a couple of layers. So this one has like 6 layers or 4 layers. It's got quite a few layers. Obviously you can see it's kind of ruched. Again, that is like obviously what I bought, but it was what's available. I'm going to just cut the end off there. And then what I found works best is if you've got like the triangle, you want to fold it over, and then this is what wraps around the baby. But because there is like a lot of this excess and like it frays quite easily, it's definitely harder to work with because it's so like bouncy. So when I've done this like the second time, I haven't bought more of this. I bought well, I actually used this little like similar stuff to the blankets. They're actually very soft, so that was quite good. So I get my baby, I decide which one I want to use, and then I will make sure it like fits nicely. And you see this becomes like a lot thicker than one like this. So as I said, like I do think it's a bit nicer, but much harder for me to work with. So yeah, once I've got it in these kind of the right shape and size, I add glue. I'm using Eileen's tacky glue. You can get this on Amazon in the UK. I will try and remember to link it down in the description. But this was like the cheapest but best quality one that I've worked with. So yeah, I do recommend that glue. So I then place my baby and wrap it around like it's being swaddled. This glue does take a second to work, so I just hold it for a moment, but it does stick very quickly. And then I kind of fold it up like a present and glue it up like this, which is much easier using this material. This stuff is a pain in the backside to work with. So I try and cut off any excess because I don't want to make it super bulky around the bottom, which is how it often ends up. And then because this stuff frays really badly, I'm just cutting off more of that excess. Because this stuff frays badly, I try and like glue over like the end piece, so that there's no like raw edges. I don't have to do that with the other material, which is another reason why I prefer it to work with. I glue that and then I add more glue, and this bit does end up quite bulky on these ones. Add more glue and then like pull it up and glue it into position, and then just hold it for a sec. As I said, this does stick super fast. It takes like, you know, a little time to completely dry. I usually just leave it overnight and then it's completely dry, but you can see it also like makes a slightly different shape. Like this one ends up pointy here, which, I mean, it is what it is. But because they've got like the weighting in the head and the weighting in the body, they do feel so lovely just to hold. Like it's quite a therapeutic thing. And I think a lot of people would just enjoy having one of these just to hold. I should probably keep one for my own collection. I'm just thinking about that. Oh, and I have painted different hair on every single baby. Has like a different hairstyle. The lighting is not showing you here. I will try and film afterwards and insert it in if I remember. But yeah, that is how I do it. And now I think I've just got these ones left to go. So you can buy this kind of material in like packs of like 10 or so. That's what I did for these, and then just cut them in half. So they make a lot, and you can get the Nubbin heads. I've named them Nubbin heads. They're not called that on Amazon or anything. You can get them on Amazon in packs of like 10 or 20 fairly cheaply. They do take a while to arrive because I think they're from China. I will just say, like, it's not like a fake kit. I know, you know, I had some people in my comments worried about that. It's not, because it's not a copy of a kit, so it's not like an illegal, you know, fake copy Reborn. It's just a plastic doll head essentially. So we wrap them up, make a little ghost baby. You could have little ghost babies like this, but this has been the best material to work with as an artist. The easiest, let's say, not the best, the easiest. Again, I'm like cutting off excess bits, so I do end up with quite a lot of scraps, but that's not the end of the world. And sometimes with this one I will also like fold the end bit over and like glue it, like so that bit's folded over, and then that'll come up here. So I will glue that, and this glue is amazing. Like it, when it is dry, it sticks. Like it's dry. And I actually use this for inside the heads when I've rooted a baby, or for the eyelashes. Yeah, I use it inside for all of that. And what is also quite nice is because they are made of like a soft squishy material, you can like squish them into a shape as well. Another way that I tried doing the bodies, which also worked, was to just add like steel discs to the bottom and then add stuffing on top. That is another way that's absolutely worked fine if you don't have poly pellets, or if you just don't want a weighted baby, you could just use stuffing, and it would make a lightweight one. But I quite like them being weighted because, as I said, it feels quite nice to hold, but it's not essential in any shape or form. And I just make sure that there's like a decent amount of glue because I don't want this unraveling. And I am planning on taking these to the doll show in November in Basildon to sell them. So I'll have like 60 with me, so I will have quite a few. I am like thinking about how I could sell them online, but I think I would struggle just because I don't have my own like online selling platform. When I sell my dolls, I do it through reborns.com, and I don't know whether I could list these on there. But yeah, so I'm just planning on selling them at the doll show. I would love to meet some of you guys at the doll show, by the way. Like, that would be really cool. It's my first one that I'm going to be exhibiting at. Anytime I've attended the shows in the past, it's been as just a regular attendee. So I am really excited about this. I am moving in October, so I won't be in London anymore. And it'll be easier for me to get to doll shows because I'm going to have a car, which is nice, because I want to do more of this kind of thing. Spend time with you guys, like make more dolls. Some of you might have seen in my recent videos, I am now trying to make this into my full-time job because I think it will be best for my mental health. Because this doesn't feel like work to me. Like, oh well, this bit does. This is a bit of a pain, like having to do this bit. This is less fun. But in general, like painting reborns, you know, it's a passion of mine. It's my hobby, and I'd like to just be able to do that, essentially. So I'm going to be selling these guys at a doll show. I'm also going to be selling the Angedas dolls that I had worked on at the doll show. Again, like, I don't have my own selling platform, and I'm not sure I can put these on Reborns because they're not like actual Reborns. But oh, that's what I was going to tell you. So I've made like, I think 67 of these now, and I have actually sent a few out to various people. So I have sent one out to the owner of Ultimate Fusion because she got in touch with me. So her name is Narelle, and she is actually a Reborn artist, and she'd seen my videos making them and using Ultimate Fusion, so she wanted to chat to me about that, and she said, like, you know, thank you for featuring our products. And I was like, I love them, and I mentioned that I use them for these, and then I said, can I send you one so that like you've got one? So I have now sent one off to Australia. Shipping to Australia, very expensive, very, very expensive. Wild. So anyway, I've sent one to her, and then I have also sent a couple to my friend Kirsten, who, if you're watching me, you probably know Kirsten as Lambie's Nursery. So I sent some to her just because she's a friend of mine, and I wanted her to like have one, and she wouldn't be able to obviously get one in the UK because she's not in the UK, so she wouldn't be able to come to the doll show to get one. And then the other person that I have sent some to is a lady called Kathleen. Now Kathleen, she's such a sweet lady. She messaged me on Facebook a little while ago when I had painted my my Laurie, and Laurie was a beautiful baby I made. Really, really proud of Laurie, and Laurie had so much interest, like everyone wanted to buy Laurie, and unfortunately some scammers had come along and basically targeted my audience, saying that they were selling Laurie, pretending to be me. You know, they had a whole fake profile set up on Facebook that was like Reborns of Jess, pretending to be me, and they unfortunately scammed her out of $900. And the way they did it was via like gift cards. So they pretended to be me, and they basically said to her, you know, you need to pay in like Apple gift cards, which a lot of people, of course, would immediately recognize as a scam, but especially the older generations, which this lovely sweet lady is a part of, wouldn't necessarily know. And also she trusted me, of course, because, you know, she's seen my videos, she follows me, and trusted that I wouldn't scam her. And she was also really excited because she absolutely fell in love with this doll. Now, unfortunately, as you guys know, I only sell through reborns.com, or I'm going to be selling at these doll shows. So Laurie had already sold. And then she then reached out to me on Facebook, on like my real profile, to ask about the doll. Like, you know, she said something like, you know, can you reply to me on your, you know, profile, because I think they'd blocked her by this point. So they got the money. They were really then rude to her, and said some really horrible things to her, and then just absconded basically with her money. And I felt so horrendous. And this isn't the first time someone's reached out to me to say that this has happened, because I had someone from like South Africa accuse me of being a scammer, and they'd been scammed by some, you know, their mum had been scammed by someone in South Africa, and they were like speaking Afrikaans in the messages that they showed me, and I was like, well, I don't speak that language, you know, that wasn't me. And like, they just would not believe that it wasn't me, basically. Anyway, back to Kathleen. So I don't obviously take custom orders. She did want to order a lorry from me, but I don't like repeat dolls, and you know, I couldn't say yes to that for her, especially because, you know, with a full-time job, I just can't do customs. Anyway, I reached out to her once I'd made these babies, and I said, can I send you one, just, you know, because I feel so bad that she's been scammed. And like, she never got her money back because of the way that they'd done it through gift cards. So there was nothing like her bank could do. It's $900. Like, that's my rent. So I did feel awful. So I did reach out, and I am sending her some of these babies because it's a nice thing to do. And yeah, I do like genuinely feel awful when people get scammed by people pretending to be me. That's why I often like make videos about scammers and trying to like raise awareness. And when these accounts pop up, I try and flag them and be like, please report them, because often these scam accounts, they block me, so I can't report them for impersonation of me because I'm blocked, so I can't like see their profiles, which it's just crazy that like there's not a better way online to be able to deal with these guys. Like, luckily YouTube has good kind of copyright things, like I can submit a copyright report when someone is impersonating me, but not they don't really have that on like Facebook and TikTok so much. On Facebook, I literally was on the phone to a real person for like an hour, and they essentially said to me like, there's nothing we can do because they've blocked you, like you have to report them. But they'd blocked like both my business and my personal profile, so they clearly knew what they were doing. Yeah. And luckily you guys really came through, because I did put a call out to the community and I was like, we need to get these guys taken down. So you guys did that and got them taken down. But it was, yeah, absolutely wild what they're able to get away with, essentially. And yeah, TikTok is the worst for it, because even when I report people for impersonation, they don't take that, like it always comes back with like no community guidelines, like violation. Like, essentially what they're doing is fine, even though they've literally made an account that's called like Reborns of Jess 2, or you know, that's got one letter slightly different. They're using my picture, they're using my videos. Apparently that's fine, which is very frustrating and leads to people getting scammed. And it's frustrating that these sites like don't take more accountability to at least give us an option to report and say this person is doing this. I could go on for ages about scammers. It puts me in such a bad mood whenever one pops up or I get a message from someone saying, oh, there's an account pretending to be you. And half the time I can't even see the account because they've blocked me. So it's a frustration. I can hear my husband moving around. I think he's upstairs. Bless him, he's been doing like all of the packing for our move. He also does all of our chores. I do basically zero chores in this house. He is wonderful and I appreciate him, and I am incredibly fortunate with my choice in husband. I've got like 4 more after this one to do, I think, and then I will have done all of the babies. And I've been working on these for how long? For like a week. It's taken me like probably close to a week to do 40 of these. It is quite a lot of work, just as a heads up. It takes quite a while if you're going to do these. And I've obviously been doing them in bulk, but it's a lot of effort goes in, a lot of love goes into creating everything I do. It's made with love. I'm not sure how well these are going to sell at the doll show. I'm thinking of pricing them at about £20 as like a show special price. Also, some of them, I've got like loads of these mini baby dummies, so a bunch of them I'm going to add dummies to. And I have found, wait, I'll show you. Okay, so I found these little cribs, and they come with this little cushion and a tiny little blanket, and they are the perfect size for my Nubbin babies. So what I was thinking of doing is basically getting a bunch of these. It's quite like a big cost for me to buy lots of these, but I was thinking of bringing them to the doll show to sell alongside the Nubbins. I'd love to know, like, if you guys were buying a Nubbin, would you want to buy a matching crib that like it fits in? How much would you spend on that? Because obviously for me, like, you know, I'm having to do the initial outlay, and they're not the cheapest things to buy lots of, and obviously I've got like 60 babies. If I was to buy 60 of those, that would be many hundreds of pounds, and yeah, I don't want to like buy loads and then them not sell basically at a show. But the fact that they are like exactly the right size, I was like, this is just so cute. And yeah, I thought I should probably bring some. So I bought 2 at the moment. I've literally only bought 2, and yeah, just thinking like it would be probably sensible to buy some more, but as I said, it's quite a big outlay, and also they take up quite a lot of space. As I said, we're moving, so I would yeah, it's like, is the effort worth it, is my question. I think it might be, but I don't think I should buy 60 of them, because I don't think everyone that buys a Nubbin will also buy one of those. But I don't then want to get to the doll show and find that everyone wants one of those with their Nubbin and that I've only bought 2. And I would also quite like to keep one for myself with a Nubbin in. So I've really got one for sale. Yeah, moment. So we will see what we do. I'd love to know what you guys think, and if you're coming to the doll show, like, would really love to know that. If I'm going to see any of you guys there. I mean, I doubt many people are watching 30 minutes into this probably quite boring video for you guys to answer that question, but you are a true fan if you have, to be honest. I also might do a giveaway for some of these as well. I need to stop giving my stuff away for free though. I love doing giveaways. Obviously I'm doing that one when I reach 100k. I might end up doing like a few yeah, a few more. I think these are quite good for giveaways because they're not like super expensive for me. Obviously it just takes my time really. Just takes my time. They're so cute. I have 3 more. 3 more and then I will have made 67, which I think is a big achievement. I think it's 67. I'll probably have to count. Oh, I did also meet one of you guys at the 5 Parishes show that I was at a couple of weeks ago. So you guys know I mentioned that if you recognised me at the show, I would have a few Nubbin babies with me and I would give you one for free. So I had 2 adorable little girls come up to me. They must have been like 8 years old. They were so cute. They were so nervous. It was adorable. And they came up and they said, "Oh, you on YouTube?" And I went, "Yes." And they said how much they love my channel and my dolls and my collection, and it was really sweet. And so I had a few different dolls with me. I had a few Nubbin babies, and then I've actually also repainted a couple of, they're like, I'll probably have to show you a picture. I repainted some other little like just cheap babies you can buy, but with the same process basically. And so I repainted those. So I also had some of those with me, and like I gave them a choice, and I was like, have a baby. Yeah, and they took those other repainted ones rather than the Nubbins. But yeah, that was really cute. So, and that was like the first time I'd been recognised like outside of a doll show, because obviously people at doll shows, like, we all recognise each other. It's a small community. I remember like the first time I met like Abby and Ruth and Annette, I was like really starstruck because I'd seen so much from them online that it was like, oh, these people that are like celebrities. So that was really exciting. And Kathy, who runs the doll shows, that was also very exciting. Which was my first show? I think Peterborough was my first doll show. And I went to Basildon with my mum and Avery, and no one came up and said hello to me, and I had loads of people in my comments afterwards being like, "Oh, I saw you there, but like, you know, I didn't want to like disturb you or something," and I was like, please come and say hi. I'm just a regular person. Like, people forget this. Like I love talking to people about reborns. Like, you know, I didn't start doing all of this to get like subscribers or followers or anything. Like, I do it because I love dolls. I'm this little weird, I'm not very little, I'm this, you know, I'm just a doll obsessed person. Okay, that's me. I love dolls. I get really excited about them, particularly reborns, but to be honest, I like any kind of doll. I always have. I used to have like loads of Barbies and Polly Pockets when I was little, and I'm really sad that like my parents convinced me to get rid of them, because, you know, and I did because I was too old. But I've always loved like teddies, and again got rid of a lot of my teddy bears because my parents were like, "Oh, you've grown out of these by now." My mum doesn't watch my long form content, so she won't see me say this, but I never grew out of any of that stuff. My dad knew that I never grew out of it, and like he would still buy me teddy bears when I was older. He, bless him, he bought me a Charlie bear when I went off to university. So we always called it Uni Bear because I got it for uni. And it was brilliant, and it came with me to uni every time I went. So did my teddy bear, because it was very comforting. And it was one of those big Charlie bears, and if you know Charlie bears, like the big ones are a little bit weighted. I just like weighted things, basically. It's what we're learning here from this video. I just like something weighty. So yeah, the Charlie bear was weighted, and it meant he could like hug you back. Oh, it was so nice. I should not have left this one till last. Why have I left the hardest one to do till last? I don't know. Is that even gonna fit? Oh, I'm gonna have to make it fit. I never grew out of any of this stuff. That will fit. I will make it fit. And if you do ever see me at like a doll show, or even like out and about, come and say hi. I think it's so cool. It's funny, I was looking through my screenshots, like old screenshots last night as well, and because I was trying to find like whether I had taken a screenshot of like the number of followers I had, like, you know, early on when I started, and I've got a screenshot when I've got like 195 TikTok followers. And so I was really pleased to find that. But I also found screenshots of a conversation between me and my mum. And again, she won't be watching this, so it's fine. And I had clearly like commented on a Reborn artist's doll that they were making on Facebook. And whatever comment I had put like made it clear that I liked these dolls and I was interested in buying one. I don't know what I said, probably something like "this is beautiful" or something like that. And the conversation with my mum was basically her saying, please can you not comment on these because you know, your dad is really freaked out by them, and the fact that you might want one, and also one of her friend, like my mum's best friend, was also really freaked out by them, and the fact that I might want one. And it's really funny because like now I'm trying to make this my full-time job, and now that I make them and things, my dad still freaks out, like he still finds them really creepy, but he appreciates the artistry of it now. Didn't when I was just collecting them. And I just thought it was really funny that like I've got these conversations with my mum where she's not being the most supportive and basically saying like, keep it to yourself. And I was like, I don't want to have to hide who I am as a person. And my husband Avery, who was even my fiance at that point. I don't know if we were even engaged at that point. He was very much like, look, if someone isn't supportive of this, why do we have them in our lives? And so like there's some quite firm responses from me to my mum being like, Avery says if someone's not supportive, we shouldn't even have them in our lives. So like basically saying, if you and Daddy want to remain in my life, you're gonna need to be a bit nicer to me about it. So yeah, it's just funny. It's like now, you know, my mum's come to a doll show with me, and the one in November she like really wants to come to with me. So like both her and Avery really want to go. I think both of them are going to be coming with me because both of them really want to go. And I think Avery's flying off to Malaysia like the day after the doll show, but because, you know, he needs to go and visit his family. And I said, like, you know, if you want to go earlier in November, you can. And he was adamant that he was like not going to miss the doll show. So he's literally like arranging his like month-long travel plans to go and see his family in Malaysia that he hasn't seen for like 8 years. Like he's arranging it around the doll show, which is so sweet of him. That is exciting. But I have now made all of these dolls, and it's been 50 minutes nearabouts of you guys listening to me patter on. So I will let you get on with the rest of your day. Thank you so much if you've watched this far. I'm incredibly impressed if you have. If you have watched this far into the video, can you comment like a green heart? That would be brilliant. And then like I can see if anyone is still here or if everyone has left by this point. But I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will hopefully see you next time.